Hello you guys, welcome back to another episode of I Watched It So You Don't Have To. This time around we are talking about the sequel to 2019's Shazam, Fury of the Gods. This movie I have a lot of real issues with, but it was so much fun that I actually really enjoyed it. Billy Batson and his foster siblings are managing their teen lives while also being adult superheroes. Billy is trying to maintain balance and togetherness in the family, but soon ancient gods arrive on Earth. These gods are in search of magic that was stolen from them long ago, and in their pursuit, the fate of the world is on the line. Shazam and his allies must fight for their power, their lives, and the world. This movie is a sequel that does not hold up to the original. It does fall short, but not in a bad way, you guys. This is a solid family movie, and the comedy, for the most part, really sticks the landing. This is a fun and entertaining movie, and I especially love the banter between the characters. Moving on to the CGI. It's actually pretty good in this movie. Now, there are moments where the CGI is so-so, but there are also moments where the CGI was actually surprisingly good. I really love the daytime action scenes, especially when you got the CGI in there, because too often nowadays, these big scale CGI scenes are just in the dark, at night, in the shadows, in the rain, in the dark. It's just, you can't see anything. So I really appreciate that a lot of this was going on during the daytime. If you've been here for a minute, then you know that I really like creature type characters, monsters and stuff like that. And the designs in this movie were interesting. Some of them, a lot of them were like really cool, but then some of them were actually really gross. Touching on the soundtrack really quick, the soundtrack is actually really good, and I really loved to hear some iconic songs in the theater. Moving on to the story, I really enjoyed the story in this movie. Now, for the most part, I pull all of my summaries from Google, and there are elements that Google does and does not mention in their summaries. So I want to touch on what it does mention, and I want to touch on what it does not mention. Speaking on what it does mention first, I really love the ancient gods coming to Earth for their power concept. I think it's really interesting, especially when you put the gods, the characters that have the age, the wisdom, the experience up against actual children. It's like super engaging, and it's really cool to see a lot of the scenes and the moments play out. On top of that, for the god characters, I really love the backstory, and I really love the abilities. It was really cool. What the summary does not mention is that Billy is soon turning 18 and can be kicked out of his foster home. This is a heavy truth that could have been expanded on beyond moments of comedy or lighthearted moments that were kind of breezed past very quickly. But we did get one moment that made me cry a little bit. Moving on to the acting, I actually enjoyed the acting from the cast. I think they did a really good job. Asher Angel as Billy is fantastic. After seeing him in the first movie and seeing him in this movie, I really wonder why he didn't have as much screen time this time around. He really does a good job, specifically in those really emotional scenes. When I say I cried, you guys, I cried. Family stuff in movies really gets to me. Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddy is fantastic, and he had so much more screen time than I expected, but he did great with the time he had. I really liked that we got to see more of him, but I'll get more into the downside of that later in the video. We are not going to finish talking about the acting in this movie without talking about Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren. Icons, both of them. I really love what they brought to the movie. Again, the age of the characters and the poise and the presence of the actresses. As soon as they were introduced, you immediately understood how lethal they were and the seriousness they would bring to the movie. All right, you guys, I watched it so you don't have to, but was it worth the watch? I'm gonna say yes, especially if you liked 2019's Shazam. I will say though right now that the sequel isn't as strong, but it does a lot of good things. Also, there's a dragon in this movie, you guys. It's so cool. I really love the design. It's awesome. The characteristics, I've never seen a dragon like that before, so it was really, really cool. This movie is funny, but it's also predictable. It did give away a lot in the trailers that could have been a really cool twist to see in theaters, but it's still very entertaining and it will put a smile on your face. My biggest issue with this movie really is balance. I wish they balanced the character of Shazam and Billy better than they did. I'll get into the negative reviews a little bit later, but one thing that I've been seeing a lot on TikTok is the way Zachary Levi played Shazam. And I have to agree, you guys. Before I really dive into this issue, I do want you guys to know that I really did enjoy this movie. But Levi's Shazam was just too big in comparison to Asher's Billy. He was more subtle and less exaggerated. And really, you guys, they ended up feeling like two completely different characters. The moments where Levi's Shazam was reeled back a little bit were the moments I wish the character was in more. I really do love a lot of the humor that he brought to the movie, but a lot of it was just too over the top, too often. And that really set him too far apart from Billy. Speaking of balance, earlier I mentioned that Freddy has more screen time, and the downside to that really is that Shazam and of course Billy ended up feeling more like side characters. Honestly, you guys, Billy felt like a side character to Shazam. He really doesn't have very much screen time. I really do love that Freddy got more screen time. I really think he's a fun and interesting character. And the siblings also got more screen time. Again, I really like them. They're fun, interesting. I wish they had more screen time because there's a lot more that, we want to know about these characters, but I just wish they balanced it better. Diving into the negative reviews, you guys, I was really surprised to see somebody complain about diversity. Their point was Greek gods being played by non-Greek actors, and this is something that I had to work in my script a little bit because I ended up going off on a tangent. I do agree that the movie should have got Greek actors, Greek actresses to play these parts. But the whitewashing of Hollywood is also a really big issue. So the diversity that we do get, I'm really happy with. Again, I do agree they should have gotten Greek actors, actresses, but I'm also glad we got the diversity we got. You know what I mean? The same person also commented on pushing the gay agenda on children, and that tells you all you need to know about that person. Someone also said that the movie was unrealistic, and I wonder what type of superhero large-scale CGI action with gods and magic you were expecting. Honestly, you guys, I have to stop with the negative reviews here because I could not keep reading through them. They were really just, the movie's bad, this was the worst superhero movie, superhero genre is dead, and yada yada yada, and I'm like, what the fuck? If you want a serious comment, really, truly, something that bothered me, the only thing that I thought was unrealistic in this movie, Rachel Zegler. Now, don't get me wrong, she's beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic, but it was all so predictable. You're telling me they couldn't get Selma Hayek, Patricia Velasquez, Jessica Alba, Penelope Cruz, Morena Baccarin, Zoe Saldana? I wish they got an actress that didn't look out of place. Having seen the movie, I understand why they went with an actress that was so young. But it really bothered me. It took me out of the movie. Again, predictable. I wish they made different choices in the casting for that role. But if you're a fan of the genre, if you like that large-scale action, if you want to see a fun family movie that will make you laugh, or if you just don't mind a movie that you can just sit back and have fun with, eat your snacks, and just enjoy, then this one's for you. If you're looking for the sequel to be better than 2019's Shazam, or as good as it, if you're looking for a movie with zero plot holes, if you agree with that one negative review that I mentioned, you know the one, or if you're looking for a super serious movie, then I would skip this one and maybe go for something else in the genre. And I really love superhero movies because there is something for everyone. So if you're looking for a more realistic, more grounded superhero movie, or even the TV shows, there's something like that for you. All right, movie fans, that brings us to the end of the video where I watched it so you don't have to. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you very much. I'll leave a link to the podcast down below. If you're watching here on YouTube, leave the video a thumbs up if you like the video so I know you liked the video. Comment down below. Have you seen Shazam: Fury of the Gods yet? What are your thoughts on the movie? I know I touched on some things that I didn't like, but something that I didn't mention, you guys. You ever watch a movie and you are not concerned about the characters at all? And I don't know if in the back of my head, like, I know everything's gonna be okay, so like I'm not worried about it, but I like that feeling of dread, the suspense, like the concern. I want to be worried about the characters, and it's not that I'm not attached to them, because you definitely do get attached to the characters. They, like, again, the acting is pretty good throughout. I mean, Zachary Levi did what he did, but you're still attached to Billy, so it's still very much there. It's just, I'm like, everything's fine. Even when things weren't fine, I'm like, everything's fine. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry. Don't yell. Don't cry. It's fine. Also, the pacing in the third act was a little bit fast. But speaking of third act of the movie, end of the movie, stay to the end of the movie. Just see it all the way through, because you guys, sometimes a movie will give you a moment that is so good and so fantastic, it kind of makes the movie so much better. Getting down to it, you guys, I don't think anything really bothered me about this movie. Honestly, you guys, it takes a lot of nonsense to make me dislike a movie. All of that said, I don't think the movie ratings should be as low as they are. The movie did what it did well. It's a fun family action comedy. It will make you laugh. It is entertaining. It does have a really solid tone throughout, while at the same time expanding on the world and expanding on these characters' relationships. I do think had the movie balanced these characters better, it really could have excelled. Let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comments below. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next movie that I'm going to be watching for you. The next movie, you guys, John Wick Chapter 4. I am so excited. Right now, I'm filming this video in the middle of the week, so my honey and I, we are currently re-watching all the John Wick movies. I don't know about him. I'm having a great time. I'm very excited to see John Wick Chapter 4. The next podcast exclusive episode is going to be for the movie Operation Fortune. That's going to be dropping the first week of April, and that's just because we're going on vacation, so I'm going to miss Dungeons and Dragons, but I do want to see that movie, so as soon as I watch it, I'll be here to talk to you guys about it. But until the next video, spread positivity, be safe, take care of yourself, and everyone can be worthy if given the chance. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.